Hey guys, welcome back to Reeled In. Today we're going to talk about the breakdown and analysis of the ninth and final episode of WandaVision. I'm pretty happy overall with how this series turned out. There were some things I was right about, and then there were some things that I wasn't. But that's okay because I had a good time watching it. And honestly, in terms of the MCU, it was quite the masterpiece. So I think in my episode 8 reaction and or analysis, I commented that I thought Agatha was absorbing other people's magic, which was confirmed in this episode as she continuously took the Scarlet Witch's magic from her. So I was right about that, so point for me, yay. I loved the Wizard of Oz references. I think it happened at least twice throughout this whole series. The Wicked Witch of the East, her boots when Dorothy lands the house on her, reminiscent of how Agatha's boots were under the house/car that Wanda threw at her. The show has made it quite obvious that this is focused on the issue of witches. Agatha basically quoted the Wicked Witch of the West by saying, "And your little dog, too." The meeting between Wanda and White Vision is reminiscent of how those two met in the comics, where Wanda is initially confused and it's very quickly revealed that this Vision is not the Vision she remembers. But I think this also served another purpose. Wanda asks White Vision if it's really him. I think this may be because she knows that the White Vision is the one who got killed by Thanos and the one that was left at the Sword Lab. And I think she also knows that this Hex Vision is from her powers. Whether or not she knew this right from the beginning or she only remembered this from when Agatha showed her little backstory, I'm not too certain, but I think she does know the difference between the two of them. White Vision attempts to kill the Hex Vision the same way Thanos originally did to him, by pulling the Mind Stone out of his forehead. Like, ouch, again? Poor Vision can never get a break. And my man, Jimmy Woo, we see him learn a thing or two from Ant-Man with his magic tricks, uncuffing or picking the lock of the handcuffs. So now this magical book that Agatha has had in her little cave dwelling area has been confirmed as the Darkhold. In this series, it's revealed that the Darkhold has secrets and information on the Scarlet Witch herself. A whole chapter, basically, just dedicated to the Scarlet Witch. And it ultimately claims that the Scarlet Witch is a sentient power or being that was not born into this world naturally, but most likely created, or I think maybe even summoned. We sort of see this when Wanda unlocked the power of the Mind Stone in the flashback. The Scarlet Witch literally came to her, and I think they merged themselves together. The Darkhold is a book of the damned, made from dark matter from a hell dimension. The Darkhold contains infinite knowledge on spells, formulas, and also information on how to create machines to harness energy from other dimensions. The Darkhold also corrupts the readers and forms a dangerous obsession over it. It's almost like the One Ring of Lord of the Rings. If you have it, you never want to let it go, and you will kill to keep it. So that's great. Also, we got another little hint on just how powerful Wanda is. She is more powerful than a certain Dr. Stephen Strange.
Your power exceeds that of the Sorcerer Supreme.
This will be an interesting setup, I think, for when the Multiverse of Madness is released. I'm not sure how Wanda or Doctor Strange is going to go toe-to-toe with each other, but it'll be interesting to see. And the reveal that we were all waiting for is the revelation of Agatha's husband, Ralph, is actually Peter. I'm not sure what this means in regards to, this is actually supposed to be the Quicksilver from another universe and dealing with mutants. But as of right now, it doesn't seem like that's the case. It looks like Peter just played what looked like an aspiring actor named Ralph Boner.
Boner.
Yeah, I know a lot of people are disappointed in that. I was a little bit too, like, you hyped up this man named Ralph for 8 episodes, and then in the 9th episode, it's just him. So a little disappointed in that. Not too big of a grievance, though. For those of you who are a bit disappointed with the finale, I think it's good to remember that these events will directly lead into a multiverse of madness. So any unanswered questions or things that seem kind of weird may be answered in the Doctor Strange 2 movie. So just keep that in mind. Something also that I think is interesting is we get a little bit more revelation on Billy's powers. So he sees Wanda choking the town's residents an instant before it actually happens, which might indicate that Billy can see the future, which, as far as I know, I don't believe is a power of Wanda's. I know in the comics Billy does lead to be more powerful than Wanda, so this might be starting to separate the powers from the two of each other. So that's interesting, and I hope they come back. Although it's unlikely, but I hope they do. If you guys have been paying attention to the names that usually pop up on the cinema screenplay thing, I don't know what that's called exactly, but one of them during the Halloween episode was The Incredibles, and the superhero family of Wanda and Vision take the Incredibles stance when they're fighting off the bad guys on that island. And Wanda herself even creates a force field to protect her family, similar to Violet Parr. They're just different colors. Although it was kind of funny that, like, Wanda's shield is red and Violet's is, like, purple, but Agatha's powers are purple. I just think it's kind of interesting. Squidward literally shot at children. Like, can you do nothing to make me hate you more? Like, literally everything you do, every line you say, it's just, like, I'm just one step closer to despising you. But also Monica is showing off her powers. As I've said before, her powers are linked to the electromagnetic spectrum. Her eyes turn a different color based off of what radiation she comes into contact with. In this scene, her eyes are yellow, and she's able to let bullets phase through her, slowing down their momentum, and eventually, when they exit out of her, they fall flat to the ground. I'm not exactly sure what kind of radiation she's present to. Maybe the gunfire or something. But it's interesting. Very interesting. Also notice how her eyes follow the bullet as it's going past her. And as far as I know, bullets can move pretty fast. So for her to be able to keep it in her line of sight might mean that she has some super speed powers, which is similar to one of her powers in the comics. So that might be a future revelation, and I hope so, because I'm here for Monica. And we stan Monica for trying to protect the kitties. She's just so great. We love Monica. And Hayward proves he's a coward, and Darcy proves she's a bad bee. I am curious, though. It just seems improbable that Hayward has all the power to, like, do this to storm Westview, even if it's without, like, a higher-up's knowledge. It just seems a little weird to me. So I'm kind of wondering if Hayward is working for someone. And if so, who exactly is that someone? Because I hope we get I know Hayward got arrested and, like, whoop-de-doo, good for him. But I hope that we get a little closure with him. So maybe he'll come back later on and get what he deserves, because he deserves a lot worse than just getting arrested, in my personal opinion. I was digging the philosophy debate between both the visions. The outcome of this debate, I think, is what makes a person who they are. And the answer, I believe, is memories and experiences. So White Vision isn't the true Vision, though he may have the original body, but he lacks the memories. And the Hex Vision, I don't believe, is the true Vision at all, because he may look like it, but he only has the emotion. He doesn't have the physical body of Vision, and he lacks the memories. He only remembers what Wanda wants him to. He didn't remember he was an Avenger, or even what the Avengers were. So in theory, they are both not Vision. But in a weird way, they both kind of are. But I think at the end of this, White Vision becomes the true Vision when Hex Vision unlocks his memory banks. I said last analysis that this was going to be sort of a similar Gamora situation, where the original Gamora was killed, but she comes back through an alternate timeline version of herself. So, and that has to do with Peter Quill, trying to fall in love with her again and trying to get her to fall in love with him again. So I think it might have a similar situation with Wanda and the White Vision. Maybe he'll slowly start to remember things, or he has the memories, but I don't think he has the emotion for them yet. So maybe we'll see as he keeps remembering or reliving, he'll start to regain some emotion in regards to these memories, and maybe slowly his color will sort of start to come back to him. I'm not sure though. That'd be cool to see. I guess we'll have to wait for future movies or TV shows to come out to see what's really going on. I thought it was really cool when Wanda used her powers similar to in Ultron, where she shows Agatha her worst nightmare. But that soon backfires on Wanda when the Coven detects a more powerful, and I think also a more powerful witch with more dark magic, which of course resides in Wanda's Scarlet Witch. Her crown appears similar to how Agatha's mother wore her own crown, indicating the top witch. So I think that top witch tier now belongs to Wanda, because she's the most powerful Avenger. Also, can we appreciate how Wanda learns on her feet? Like, she teasingly disappears using a similar move to Agatha, and then she created runes, trapping Agatha and disallowing her use of her magic, like how Agatha did to her in that little cave thing. Still don't know what it's called. Dark Shrine, whatever. And Wanda transforms into the Scarlet Witch, and she's just so beautiful and so amazing in that outfit. I know all the cosplayers out there are gonna have a great time with that. I think it also indicates the stages of grief. You can see throughout the episodes, she goes pretty much from denial, anger, depression. I think the revelation of the Scarlet Witch showing herself in Wanda is Wanda's acceptance of who she is and even what's happened to her. So although this whole situation is morally not great and just like not great in general, I think it kind of had to happen for Wanda to heal. And she might not even be healed really, but I think it's just something that she's had to come to terms with, and this was her way of doing it. So she defeats Agatha, and I'm glad Agatha is still alive, and I don't think this is the end of Agatha Harkness. Agatha has stated that by becoming a Scarlet Witch, Wanda has released something dangerous, something that she doesn't even know how to deal with. I think Wanda will need Agatha to help her. In the comics, Wanda does seek out Agatha to help train her, so maybe we'll see something similar to that as well. I'm also interested onto what this dark presence Wanda has accidentally released. I'm not sure what it could be, but we'll see. Hopefully it's not like the Scarlet Witch, because I don't want Wanda to be a villain. So I think for many people, the waterworks started coming on when she was saying goodbye to her kids. I know I was crying nonstop. You can check out my reaction video for that one.
Boys, thanks for choosing me to be your mom.
But I think it was an interesting choice of words for Wanda to use. I feel like this sort of indicates that these kids are not really from her, but maybe some other being or power. I have a feeling there's a small chance we may see them again. Not sure when or how, but I don't know. Why would they pick her? Why would she say that? I don't really know. Also, something I just noticed once I rewatched it was that Wanda made the town, she made it nighttime. Like, as the hex shrinks, the scenery changes from night to day. So I think it was really, in an odd way, nice of her to put her kids to bed before they essentially died. So in a way, you could say that they died in their sleep, which was kind of nice of Wanda, painless, not as scary, they're just kids. So I feel like we could give her that, good for her. Also, my friend Connor was right that because there's a piece of the Mind Stone in Wanda, that's how she created Vision. So good job, my dude. And I was also right that neither Vision or the kids could survive. Great. But Vision says in a comment,
We have said goodbye before, so it stands to reason.
We'll say hello again.
so White Vision is still out there, and now he has all of the memories that the Hex Vision, or the regular Vision, is supposed to have. So I think perhaps they will meet one day. Whether or not it's to Wanda's expectations, that's another question. Also, I think another consequence that hasn't exactly been explored yet, but I think is hinted at, is by the end of this series, the entire population of Westview now hates mutants or people with powers. So we may have to deal with that in Multiverse of Madness or even future Marvel movies or TV shows. Now we're at the 2 end credit scenes. Skrulls have been confirmed. They are living among us. Also, when the Skrull lady says that someone, an old friend of her mother's, wants to speak with her up there, I think she's talking about Fury. I think Fury wants her to join him on the Skrull spaceship we see him in the end credits from Far From Home. This can also lead further in, I think, into Captain Marvel 2. And to be honest, I'm glad that they put Monica in WandaVision, because at the moment, I'm most excited to see her for Captain Marvel 2. Like, I will go see Captain Marvel 2 specifically for Monica, because she is amazing. And of course, as I keep saying, we stan her. So the last end credit scene starts off with the Sokovian lullaby. Sad. Wanda's in a cabin in some undisclosed location. Some people think it's Sokovia. There's a lot of other places it could be, honestly. We see her pouring herself some tea, and in one fluid shot, the camera pans to the back of the room, where Wanda is astral projecting, and she's also reading from the Darkhold. This is similar to when Stephen Strange astral projects in his sleep, so he can keep studying all the witch, or the whatever he is. I don't even know what he is exactly. But an interesting thing is that usually sorcerers, that's what he is, sorcerers can only astral project when their consciousness is in sort of like a vulnerable state. So if they are, let's say, severely wounded and they're conscious, like they're unconscious, or if they are asleep. But Wanda is doing it while she is awake, and the Doctor Strange theme is playing while all this is going on, and then she hears her kids calling out for help, and it ends in a flash of red magic. So I have a few thoughts on like what this all could mean or be. One is that she's trying to read more about herself, to learn more about the Scarlet Witch and her powers. 2, that she's trying to figure out how to create a new dimension where her kids, Vision, and herself can live peacefully and be happy. Although I'm not sure about that, because that's kind of what this whole series was about in the first place. So, although if she does take that path, I know people think it will lead her to be the villain of Multiverse of Madness, or Doctor Strange 2, whatever you want to call it. And I really hope that's not the case, because we are a Wanda stan. And I just want her to be happy and good and powerful and helpful and all the good things that she deserves. Another thought I had is, what if the Wanda making tea and then the Wanda / Scarlet Witch that's astral projecting are 2 separate entities? So the entity of the Scarlet Witch is trying to learn more about herself unbeknownst to Wanda. Sort of like, in a weird way, like a split personality. Like there are 2 separate conscious beings in one body. My 4th and final thought is on the kids screaming for help. I have a feeling that their souls might be trapped in another dimension. And what have I been saying this whole reaction / analysis series that I've been doing, and what hasn't happened yet, is maybe Mephisto owns her son's souls. Very similar to how in the comic, the twins are only alive because a part of his own soul is in them. And eventually, he takes back his soul, and the kids, they die. Sorry, spoiler. I know a lot of people had the Mephisto thought, and it does seem kind of like a dead end since the series is over. But what this WandaVision series is it has confirmed satanic witches in the MCU universe. So honestly, as of right now, anything could be possible. So I know that was kind of quick little breakdown analysis I had. Those are my thoughts. I didn't have too many because this is the resolving arc of the whole series. So I thought it was really good. You know, with the whole, I said this in my reaction video, with the whole pandemic, it's sort of like we haven't had exactly many movies or TV shows, any new ones at least, to really enjoy. And so just this series, just to have this series be amazing, and, you know, it told the storyline of one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and, you know, that Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany did an amazing job. Everyone, all the cast members did an amazing job. And it was honestly just a pleasure to watch this whole thing, and I can't wait to watch it all as one big, long movie. The one thing I did wish was a little bit different is I wish the ending seemed a little bit more final. They did leave it open-ended, and because I know it's going to sort of slide right into Multiverse of Madness, I understand why they did that. But just, it seemed more of like a season finale than it did like a series finale, if that makes sense. But for those of you who are disappointed, I said this earlier, and I just said it again, it does slide into more movies. So, you know, anything that seems unresolved, I think will be resolved there. Also, for those of you who don't know or are upset about this big cameo that didn't happen, Paul Bettany, he was being funny. He was talking about himself as White Vision. But also, I think, looking back at it, it was good that they didn't introduce this big cameo. You know, this isn't a normal MCU movie where you have all these other Avengers in everyone else's movie. This is about Wanda and her grief and her love and just her backstory, her own story coming to light. This isn't about any other Avenger. This is about her accepting who she is and becoming ultimately the Scarlet Witch. So I think if you did bring in this big movie star as a cameo, I think it may have taken away, you know, the meaning of this series. Well, guys, that's all I really have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me on this crazy journey. I'm going to miss reacting to WandaVision so much. I honestly enjoyed this series immensely. But there are many more projects from the Marvel Universe coming our way, so I will probably react to Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It comes out March 19th. So if you want to see my reactions for that, you can leave a like on this video, comment on this, and you can subscribe to watch those videos in the future. If you want to watch the rest of my reaction videos for WandaVision, as well as my analysis videos for the series, you can click up here. You can check all those out. I really appreciate you guys if you've been on this journey with me since the beginning, and I can't wait to react to future TV shows from the Marvel Universe. So thank you guys so much. The entirety of WandaVision series has been reeled in, and I'll see you guys next time.
So long.